So, hey, everybody, it is the beginning of the, kind of diving into the big season here. And a lot of you folks have you've dived in already. You've had your open houses. We've had Black Friday, of course. So Peter and I just want to give you a few minutes here. We're going to do a 2-part series on really kind of last minute selling tips for the holidays, right, Peter? Short and sweet.
Yeah, excited about this, Jimmy.
All right, so let's dive in.
Oh, great.
What do you got first for us, sir?
Start with me. Here's what I got first. So we're going to do these kind of quick. You don't spend too much time on this video. So the first thing I would say is don't information dump. At the best of times, there is no reason to be giving people everything you know about any given product. Be really cognizant of it at this time of year. Do not information dump, because the brain will freeze and that customer will say, let me think about that and I'll come back to it. Less is more. Less is more.
Oh. Beautiful, beautiful point, especially at a time of year when a lot of people are going to be coming in to visit us and chat and kind of get chatty, right? We're going to be in a real conversational mode. So yeah, don't information dump. Don't give them everything that you know about everything. Have your key questions available for a speedy sale. Now, I always kind of preach 7 key questions, like what brings you in today, and who are we shopping for? What's the special occasion? And the biggest question of all that I always like to talk about is what's important to you. Now, these questions, a lot of people will say, oh, there's 7 of them, but you know what? Asking these questions that are open-ended are going to bring you through the sale a lot faster, because you're going to get that information from people. And a lot of people will give it to you right away, especially around Christmas time. So have those questions ready, those open-ended questions that get people talking, and that's going to get you through the sale a lot quicker than seek and find, show and tell kind of things.
Are you going to give us the 7 questions, Jimmy, or are they going to guess?
They need to buy my training for that. No.
Can I just say on behalf of everybody, that's mean.
So what brings you in today? That's a great question that gets people off of chit chat mode. And hey, haven't seen you in a while, catching up on the golden retriever and the kids in college and all that kind of stuff. Hey, you know what? We got to turn and burn tables here like a restaurant. So what brings you in today, Marv? And then it's getting down to business. And then, of course, what's the special occasion? It's Christmas, yes, but we can't always assume that. It might be yours and Sherry's anniversary 3 days after Christmas. So if it's Christmas, great. What's the special occasion? What's important to you in buying a timepiece for your son? What's important to your son in buying a timepiece? So those key questions, there's several more. I won't go into them.
If I can answer for my son, it would be, what's most important to you? He would say that I don't have to buy it. That would be the most important thing. All right. My second one is this, is the use of humor. How important it is when we use humor. I'll just share this one because I happened upon it today, not for the first time, but I still love it. You remember the old comedian Stephen Wright?
You bet.
He got this very drawn on. Well,
I bought some used paint the other day. It was in the shape of a house.
He's one of my favorites of his is, if at first you don't succeed, skydiving is not for you. So that's one of the classics from him. In any case, using humor is really, really important for all amounts. And by the way, it has to be authentic humor, right? We want to be making stuff up. Yeah. So it helps to build trust, right? If you think about what happens when people smile and laugh, the head goes back, the neck's exposed. What that means is I trust you, right? Yep. Because evolutionarily, we wanted to close those things. So using humor, provided it's authentic, is a great way to build trust. It works with the mirror neurons, right? So if I'm smiling in a good mood and happy, there's a much better likelihood the customer will be too. So use humor as appropriate and use it as early as is warranted. And it's a wonderful way to get those good endorphins going in your customer.
Well, and it helps you build a friendship too, right? You want them feeling, I came to the right place. I like it here. I like these people. And yeah, humor is incredible for that.
Unless it's really bad humor.
Unless it's really bad humor. Well, then it can just be corny, and sometimes that can be good too. So like Peter Smith's kind of humor. All right.
We're playing wrong. We're playing wrong.
Hey, my next tip is this is the season for add-ons. Let's not be so quick to run to the register and say, I made a sale. They're in the mode. Peter, when you go to buy a car, you're looking for kind of a total solution. You would be very disappointed if you got home and they didn't sell you the special, especially in Massachusetts, the special floor mats and things like that. So you're going to be a little disappointed. Don't be afraid to suggest what the add-on item may be or items. And a lot of times the add-on item can cost more than the original item. Now, in the days of Pandora, we were adding on like crazy with little $35 type of add-ons. But I've seen add-ons go into the multiple, even the millions of dollars. I've a story about that later, but this is the season for add-ons and they're in the buying mode. So suggest that. What you might want to do is after you're done setting up in the morning, take a walk around the cases and look for the matchy. But also one other thing regarding add-ons is help each other. If Tanya's over there showing diamond studs and you know that customer and you're comfortable enough walking up and saying, listen, you're going to want this as well. Do that. Help each other out. But add-ons, have contests, work on that because that is the difference between profitability and just a good Christmas.
Can I just add to that, Jimmy?
Please.
When you are closing that first sale, a simple question to ask is, who else are we taking care of today?
Absolutely.
Who else are we taking care of today? Open-ended, collaborative. You've got that momentum already going. So it's crazy not to do that. And what you'll get when you do that is, oh yeah, I've got a such and such a person, or so could you help me with that? They hadn't necessarily even thought about it. I
love it.
But you've just said to them, hey, come on, there's got to be some other people we can help you today.
And not only that, Peter, but men in general tend to be very checklist oriented, right? They go out with the checklist. I know I do all the time. I just say, hey, who else can we check off your list today? So it's a great question. It's my way to say it. So,
okay, my next one is we know about the power of listening, right? It's hugely important. But distracted listening, you have to be very, very, very careful. Distracted listening has the same effect as having an argument with somebody. And that whole thing is when we're making eye contact.
Yeah.
And then the customer sees you look away.
Yep.
Very damaging to a shared experience. So be very, very careful. And I know it can be challenging in jewelry stores, and especially in season when there's lots and lots of people coming in, but stay with that customer. And if you want to know how long you ought to listen to them, you ought to make that eye contact. Usually about 4 seconds is bang on, right? And here's your little cheat. If you look away and somebody were to ask you, what color eyes does he or she have? You ought to be able to tell them. If you can't tell them, you were looking at the nose or you're looking at the ears, doing the stuff that Jimmy does there a lot, looking at the back of the head, that kind of stuff. So no distracted listening. It's very, very damaging.
I love that, Peter. And one of the things I always preach about is be in this moment right here, right now with this customer. Yes, if Mrs. Smith comes walking in and she's your aunt, you can do a greeting.
Mrs. Smith knows a guy. Mrs. Smith is covered.
Mrs. Smith goes to Washington. But
somebody else, Mrs. Brown, if Mrs. Brown were to have come in.
All right. So let's say Mrs. Brown walks in and Smith, it's such a general name.
It's the fourth most popular name in Ireland. Popular.
But if somebody walks in, it's okay if you're focused on this customer to just say, hey, we'll be with you in a moment. There's coffee over here, and that type of thing, or have your greeter help them. But you're absolutely right. I can't stress that enough. And that is focus on your customer. Be in this moment. Enjoy this moment. And if you're asking all those good open-ended questions, you're gonna get through that sale well. But you're also going to get through the sale without letting the customer feel like you've rushed them, and you don't want that feeling at all.
So we'll be back in a little bit with tomorrow's content.
You know what? And we'll probably be wearing the same thing.
100% we will. At least this half of us will.
I love it.